Yeah. CC says, let's see. I heard that over 100 private jets flew in to meet Warren Buffett over the
Yeah,
systemic bank failure. Even POTUS was in attendance.
yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. This is, the global economic situation is really it's in peril. And again, part of that goes back to the fact that now China and Russia are working together to create an alternative to the United States dominance. So, when the United States banned Russia from SWIFT, that's like playing that game Jenga, where you pull
Yeah.
out the logs and eventually the tower collapses. That was pulling out the first one. It's going to make it very unstable.
Uh, now, let's see. Let's see where. Okay. For those of you who are looking at the show, I have my window up, my screen up, and the chickens are scratching outside. I live in the county area, and the chickens are scratching outside the window. So if you hear the noise, those are the chickens outside. Um, but let's pivot to China real quick. Um, is this not a lunatic, or I call it a berserker policy? The largest trade partner, your largest financer, your largest manufacturer, 93% of all goods are produced by China that are on the shelves in America.
Yeah.
What rational or sound thinking of a person makes them go and provoke the people who supply the dashboards to your um, computers, the dashboards to some of your weapon systems, to um, everything from your flags to your uniforms to your boots? And do they sit down and think of the ramification of their policies? Let's just take, for instance, let's say America sanctions China and goes into an economic war with China or goes into a military war with China. Do they believe that China will continue to ship the goods over? And if China, if common sense tells us that China would stop sending goods, that means that all of the stores would lose 90% of their products, 90 to 93% of
Yeah.
their products, which means that the stores would go bankrupt and close. That means that there will be massive unemployment. That means that the shipping companies that ship the stuff would go bankrupt, and the banks that made the loans to the trucking and shipping companies would have to deal with a massive domino effect of defaults, which would then hit the banking system, which would cause unheard of calamities across the United States. Does anybody in Washington think about these things when they are talking about the China threat? On one hand, we say that we recognize Taiwan or Chinese Taipei as an integral part of China, and on the other
Right.
hand, we foment independence and supplying of arms. I mean, how can you make sense of this?
Yeah. We are witnessing a form of mass insanity. Is the only way I can describe it. Because it is. Let's put it down on a personal level. Let's say that I'm dependent upon you. You supply all of diabetes medicine. I'm not diabetic, but let's just say I'm diabetic. You supply all my heart medicine, uh, and you supply all the critical minerals I need to for the business that I run. And oh yeah, you're holding a bunch of my money. So the right thing for me to do is start calling you names and threatening you, right? Yeah, because you're going to go, what's wrong with this fool? You
Yeah,
know, you don't get to talk to me that way. I'm not going to put up with this. That's how human beings will handle this. Well, guess what? Countries react the same way. And we've got Republicans and Democrats alike calling China our greatest enemy. They're the greatest threat. They're our enemy. We're going to have to go to war with them by 2025. We're going to go to war. They're our enemy. Well, you know, The Chinese may be a lot of things. They may be they may be corrupt. They may be economic exploiters, but they're not stupid. And when they hear those kinds of threats coming out of the United States, they take it on board. They say those Americans believe what they're saying. So that's one of the things why China is in Russia today. The West keeps warning the Chinese, you better not give any lethal weapons to Russia. Russia doesn't need the damn Chinese weapons. The Chinese need the Russian weapons. The Chinese need Russia's air defense systems. They already use the S-400. Now the Russians have the S-500, which can defeat ballistic missiles that the United States could fire at China. So guess what? China's going to get S-500 systems from Russia. The Chinese have some hypersonic missiles, but their range is limited. Guess what? Russia's got 3 types of hypersonic missiles that can go out and hit any carrier battle group that dares approach the shores of China. China's going to get that. So China is moving very quickly with this alliance with Russia. And as we noted earlier, this is without precedent in history. This is a historical moment that we're living through where the rise of the China-Russia partnership, because they each have something they need, but the West likes to portray Russia as sort of the little brother in this relationship, and China's the big brother, and Russia needs China more. No, Russia's on equal footing because Russia's got the weapons that China needs, and Russia's got the oil and gas. And China's got some political clout, and by virtue of its size, as you correctly noted, it's this enormous economic power from an industrial standpoint. Put those two together, all of a sudden, you're talking some serious clout. And the United States and Europe can't match it. They don't have anything come close to matching it. And that reality is going to be dawning upon people slowly over the course of the next year or two. It's just, people say, well, you're just a Putin apologist or you love Xi Jinping. And I just, mama made me smart enough that I can go outside, and if it's raining, I'll say, you know what, I made it better take an umbrella.
Yeah.
Instead of denying, oh, it's not raining, that's just a large bird.